Hi everyone. 2025 and 2026 are compound years. 2025 was a rehearsal of what 2026 brings, responsibility. So we can say then that one of the themes of this new year is from rehearsal to responsibility. As we step into this new calendar year, many people feel pressure to arrive somewhere immediately, to decide, to commit, to know. But the truth is, much of what we are stepping into in 2026 was already shown or introduced to us in 2025. If last year, 2025, felt unfinished, confusing, or incomplete, that does not mean that you missed something. It means that you were being prepared. We are going to focus on the influence of three of the outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. When outer planets enter a new sign and then pull back, they are not delaying the process. They are teaching us how to move through it. So let's understand the rehearsal principle. In astrology, the first entrance of a planet into a new sign often functions as a rehearsal. So let's be clear, this is not always the case. Okay, not all the time a planet enters a sign and then turns retrograde right away. It just happens this past year of 2025. So when it enters a new sign, it is exposing us to a new frequency, but it goes retrograde. So it's not asking us to fully embody it yet. So the retrograde that followed was a period of correction, reflection, and grounding. Now, the second entrance, when it fully enters the sign, it is where the responsibility comes. So we can understand it this way. 2025 showed us the direction, and 2026 shows us how to walk through it. So let's check out Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini awakens the mind. Gemini governs the mind, language, learning, and communication. So when Uranus entered Gemini back in July of 2025, many people experienced mental stimulation without clarity. New ideas surfaced, new interests appeared, information accelerated, but there was often no vessel for it, no container for it. The nervous system was activated, but mastery had not arrived. This is what the rehearsal principle looks like. Exposure without embodiment. Historically, Uranus and Gemini coincides with moments when information itself becomes power. During the last cycle, the outcome of history depended not only on force, but on communication, transmission, and decoding. Ideas moved faster than institutions could regulate. As Uranus returns to Gemini fully in April of 2026, the mental direction that was previewed last year becomes a lived path. This is not about knowing more. It is about thinking more clearly. I'll give you a few interesting facts about Uranus, or specifically when Uranus entered Gemini. So Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sun. So obviously it will take 84 years to go from Gemini to Gemini to Gemini. So let's move a little bit back in time. In 1776, Uranus entered Gemini, and the dissemination of information via pamphlets brought about the birth of the first country where leadership was chosen by the people. A country with a president, and not a leader imposed by birth, a king. In 1858, Uranus was back into Gemini, and the dissemination of information by the telegraph brought about the abolition of slavery in the U.S. In 1941, Uranus back to Gemini, and the dissemination of information via the radio brought about the stopping of Hitler and the German machine. This past year, in July of 2025, Uranus made its peak appearance in Gemini, and the AI revolution starting to take proper roots. But it went retrograde back into Taurus. It rehearsed what could come, but it will only enter Gemini for good in April of 2026. What will it bring? I guess time will tell. But for sure, it will push us to be more responsible. What do these historical facts mean? Well, I'll explain it using a saying in Spanish. Al buen entendedor, pocas palabras. Or as we say it in English, those who get it, get it. And I'll leave it at that. Saturn and Neptune in Aries. This is where vision becomes action. Saturn and Neptune together ask a profound question. What are you willing to make real? Neptune governs visions, ideas, and spiritual longing. Saturn governs form, responsibility, and commitment. In Aries, the focus shifts from identity, courage, and initiation. When Saturn and Neptune first entered Aries in 2025, many people felt a call towards action, towards leadership, purpose. But the capacity to sustain the call wasn't fully available. The vision arrived before the stamina. When these planets retrograded back into Pisces in September 2025, we were asked to return to unfinished emotional material, to sensitivity, grief, and spiritual honesty. That was not a regression. It was a preparation. Historically, Saturn in Aries follows periods of dissolution and marks moments when leadership must arrive before certainty exists. When Saturn and Neptune will enter Aries fully in February of 2026, intuition stops being a feeling and becomes a responsibility. It is time to stop dreaming and taking action. So it is about taking responsibility for who you already are. So, making a summary. Uranus in Gemini reshapes how we think. Saturn and Neptune in Aries reshaped how we act. Together, they form a bridge between clarity and courage. It is natural during this time to question identity, direction, and contribution. Many will feel called to change course, but unsure how. That does not mean you are lost. It means you're standing at a threshold. This is not a year to wait for certainty. Movement itself will create clarity. So this year is not about dreaming. 2025 could have been about dreaming. 2026 is taking action. So because these shifts are activating both the mind and identity, the nervous system must be tended carefully. Peace matters. Discernment matters. Embodiment matters. Not every impulse needs to be followed. Not every idea needs to be spoken. The body will tell you when you are moving in alignment. 2026 is not a year of waiting for signs. You were giving the signs already in 2025, and you were giving a period of time to plan. 2026 is a year of responding to what has already been revealed. The rehearsal is over. The path is now visible, and it's time to take responsibility. So to give you a very quick summary, last year, 2025, when a planet entered a sign, it kind of showed you this is what's coming. Then it went back, it went retrograde, and it said, okay, this is what needs to be fixed. Now it goes back to the sign. So it says, all right, 2025, I showed you what to do. I gave you a time to prepare. And 2026, there is no holding back. Just go for it. No time to wait.